is about midnight. Am I getting any? Oh gosh, I'm sure this is working. Test. Oh, I'm not seeing any microphone here. Let's see here. Guys, I don't know why, but I'm not seeing the microphone come up. All right, you guys can hear me, I guess. So, I wanted to talk about motivation. It's after midnight here. I'm not sleeping so well. I took a gummy, a CBD gummy to hopefully get some sleep here, but it hasn't happened yet. But I wanted to talk about motivation. I've been really good about staying motivated and staying on course, and a lot of people, they just hate to hear, how do you get ahead? And it's just work your ass off and save, and these are all good things. But I'm 62 now, and the motivation, that getting motivated is a whole different ballpark when you have money and you don't have to work, and I've been in that position for a long time, and so it's just kind of different to try to find motivation when you don't have to work necessarily. So you got to you find new goals and that sort of thing. And you guys, anybody that knows me well knows I'm a big fan of Jim Rohn. That's who you see behind me here. And he's just a fantastic speaker, motivational guy, and has just been I didn't even discover Jim until I'll get myself out of here a little bit. I didn't even discover Jim Rohn until, till after he was dead, actually. But I think he taught like Tony Robbins, and he employed some of those guys. And anybody want to comment? Yeah. Oh, there you are. The gummy. The gummy will kick in about 1 hour. Oh, well, I actually took half a gummy about an hour ago, and it hadn't kicked in, so I just took the other half. But we'll see if it'll knock me down some. So I'll tell you this: there's not sleeping. When you have worries, that's the worst, right? That's the worst, and I haven't had that for forever, and I don't worry about much anymore either. But in general, I actually can lay awake for hours, and I'm pretty damn content. Other than if I have something to do the next day, and then I worry about, you know what, I'm going to drag tomorrow, and I don't really need to drag tomorrow. But, now I'm working with one of my sons, both of them actually, but one of them more than the other. One's full-time, one's part-time. And, we're looking for real estate, and we're handling all the, if you just got here, hey, by the way, if you just got here, hit that subscribe button. If you want to learn about real estate, that's primarily what I know how to do, is invest. But I from time to time I like to do these poolside chats or I used to do these outside and talk, about, anything, so anybody wants to contribute here, jump in. And if anybody wants to call in, I'll give you a number. You can call. We can go live too. But what I heard Jim Rohn say, I watched a little snippet, and it wasn't one of these, but it might have been actually, but it was basically, don't just work on your job, but work on yourself, right? Work on yourself. And, he said, work on your job and you'll make more money, but, work on yourself and you'll make a fortune. And I believe that to be true. And like I said, money's always come easy to me. I didn't finish high school, but I went to work and I was never stupid. And numbers have always been pretty easy for me. And, but, just the basic math, and figuring out how to make money isn't really that hard. And really the math is really, you don't even, if you really need complicated math to make money, or to figure out something, then it's probably not that great a deal. That's what I would tell you. Hey, Joshua, how you doing, buddy? So I'll just play a snippet of a couple of these snippets of Jim Rohn. Let's see, maybe I'll have something here, and then we'll just talk about it.
Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? Good question. What are you going to do starting tomorrow that'll make a difference? Now see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? It's going to be the same. And see, that way you can guess what the next 5 years are going to be like. Look at the last 5. Because the next 5 are going to be like the last 5 unless you, major key, tomorrow, change it all. Or change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do?
I'll pause that thing. Anyways, so yeah, and a lot of it, what he says is about, change, right? Do something. And it's really basic. It's really common sense when you break it down. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and you're not getting anywhere, then guess what? You're not going to get anywhere if you keep doing the same thing. Lifeversity wrote, one of my favorite Jim Rohn quotes is, success, a few single disciplines practiced every day. Yeah. I was actually saw some guy, some old clip from probably the 50s. And I think he was talking about concentrating on, if you just concentrate for 17 seconds on one particular thought, it could be happy or it could be, but if you do that for 17 seconds and then you do it, if you do that 4 times, then it starts to manifest, and then it becomes more and more. And that could be about anything. And I'm not saying it's true. I'm just sharing something I read. Joshua wrote here, I signed up for your course a couple years ago but never followed through. I started a small business that's doing pretty good, but I want to get back in and do your course. Well, you should, Joshua. So just get a call with me and we'll get you back in there. But listen, yeah, real estate was my way to make a fortune, okay? And and I'm surrounded by property, and for me it's wonderful because I get to pass it on to my kids and show my adult kids, how to make money in real estate, and my son, he's really getting a lesson because there's just so much. I've been signing a lot of leases. When you're a landlord, I've got 200,000 square feet, so getting those leases signed, especially when times are starting to get tough, you go, oh, geez, because when the economy starts to get bad, you start to feel weak as a landlord. You don't feel like you can raise the rents. But when things are great, then you feel like, okay, well, hey, it's fair. Let's bring the rents up a little bit. But when things are tough, even the tenants like, shit, everything sucks. And for you, you're like, well, please don't go. So anyways. But so I've been getting leases signed here for the last year as they've come up, and you get a lease signed that's worth $1 million or $500,000 over whatever, a couple of years or 3 years. Every time you have one of those, it just kind of makes you feel better. Makes you go, okay, good. Because then you kind of know at a certain point, not that a lease can't be broken and somebody can't go bust, but it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good when you have these commitments, and it makes the bank feel good too. By the way, if you're borrowing money and that sort of thing, they like to see that you have. They like to see that. They like to see leases. They don't want to just see that you have it rented. They like to see leases, and the more they worry about that, it means and they got their finger on the pulse of what's going on and what's going bad, and because they're in banking, they know that, and and things are bad. Listen, we've been going off a cliff here, but I tell you what, I'm so thankful. Thank God we got a new president coming in. We got a guy that's a businessman. We got a guy that's already got a proven track record of doing what he says, and so I'm really, really happy. And I tell my kids, I say, it doesn't matter how bad a day is. It's never going to be that bad just because we got Trump back, and I really, really feel strongly about that. And those of you that don't feel so strongly, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised at what comes up. And I'll tell you. When 4 years ago, I was so relieved. I was so relieved that Trump was in. That I thought, well, if he doesn't win, it'd be hard for them to really screw everything up that he's done. And boy, was I wrong. Oh my God. the president is the most powerful person in the world, and you put one in that's got dementia, and you don't even know who's pulling his strings. You can see what happens. All of a sudden, it's just crazy. And then here we are at the tail end. They've loosened the regulation, the borders, so more people can come over. We're sending, all of a sudden we're supplying rockets to the Ukraine. Something we probably should have done actually from the very beginning 4 years ago, not now. And of course now it's just too little, too late. But again, it's just kind of muck it up for Trump. That's kind of what they did. They always try to muck it up for Trump. That's what they did last time, and that's what they're doing again now. But I'm super happy, super proud. I've met Mr. Trump, president. He wasn't president when I met him. It was before he got elected. Man, what a good guy. I mean, I'm not saying he's got like a heart of gold, but he's growing into having one, right? I mean, I think he used to be quite the bastard, taking just being ruthless, and that's whatever. That's the game, but it for me now, knowing I've got 4 adult kids, in the workforce now, or entrepreneurs, investors. I'm so happy, and really I want to tell this to you, all of you out there, Joshua, you too particularly, that since you just bring this up about being in the course and kind of dropping out for a while, you have got this opportunity right now that in the next 10 years, things are going to get better, number one, and you're just going to see, you're going to be surprised how fast things will change. The difference of drilling oil, pulling oil out of the ground in our own country, letting that money circulate within the economy, giving people jobs, that sort of thing. And hey, ignore that phone. That phone number is no good. If anybody does want to call in, just let me know, and I'll give you a different number. I got to take that phone number down, actually. God. Let me take that phone number. There you go. And I'll tell you why. Look, I've been investing, and I started working in 1979, right? 1979, I was 17, dropped out of high school, went to work, and I did fine. I mean, I probably made $6 an hour first job, and then, a year and a half later, my boss went out of business, and I was self-employed, which led to me buying my first piece of real estate. So, a year and a half after dropping out of high school, I bought my first piece of property, got my eyes open, realized how much money can be made quite easily, and then I just took off, and I just started making money like crazy ever since. And I've learned a lot of lessons, and I've learned, I have obviously made some mistakes, but I've learned from those mistakes, and now my students, because I have students, those of you that just got here, this is what I do, is I mentor people in how to invest in real estate, and been very, very successful at it. Got many millionaires in my class in a short time. So, but what I want to say is you got this window now where you got a competent president. You got a guy that is country first. He's all about cutting waste, outright donations to get him back in again. Spaces, I can barely read this. Seems like our only purpose is to pay taxes. How can you survive? I'm afraid of civil I wouldn't worry too much about that anymore. How am I supposed to buy a property on $50,000 a year? So you're listen, I totally agree with you, number one. But it's never been easy, but I used to tell people, look, it isn't any harder now than it was, when I was young. I don't think that's 100% true anymore, because you got to save quite a bit more now today for a down payment than you used to. I mean, proportionally, even given, the time that's gone by and the value of the dollar, and, inflation and everything else. But what I want to say is, but it doesn't matter. In making money in real estate, and that's what I know how to do, that is pretty much a level playing field, because that's always about who has the deal. So it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It's whoever gets there first and gets the deal first. It's who gets there first, right? They've got the power to take this, because if you get there first, then you're kind of get in between what somebody has and what somebody wants, and you're in the middle there, you can make some money there. So I'll look at that in a sec. But what I want to say is, if you're feeling like you're perfect right now, I'm glad you space age rich. I'm glad you got in and said that, because it's like I say, work on yourself, right? I mean, you can, with any job you've got, and this kind of some Jim Rohn-ish type stuff, but I would just tell you, I don't know why you're limited to only making $50,000. I know, not everybody gets to go to college and get maybe learn how to, and all that stuff is becoming worth less all the time, by the way, with all this AI stuff. But, a friend of mine's daughter went to Washington for 3 years, and he was upset with her because she spending $2,600 a month on rent. He goes, "Why, you're wasting so much money?" Well, she came back and she had saved over $400,000. Maybe it was $450 in those 3 years. So, there's some people that can make a shitload of money. I mean, they get paid very, very well. They make more money than a small business, like a small business entrepreneur will make. And, it's just pretty amazing to me, but that happens. That there's young people making that much by coding or whatever they do. So obviously, oh, you can hear this now? Anybody? Tell me if that mic's any better. It's showing to work fine here. Or maybe that gummy's kicking in, I don't know. What I was going to say is, a couple things. Let's just talk about the next 10 years. Next 10 years, the country's under new management. You're going to see, like for you, if you're making only $50,000 a year, inflation is what kills lower income like you. That it kills you guys because, gas is a major, for somebody making $50,000 a year. Gas is something you think about. Groceries are something you think about. When you're rich, you don't even think about that. I mean, I think if you make a couple $100,000 a year, you probably still don't even worry too much about gas. You fill your tank. You don't even, you go buy milk, you buy groceries. You know what I mean? Once you get over, once food is like insignificant to pay for to you, even if it's twice what it is, or what it was, it's insignificant. It's not a big cost, so you don't think about it. And if you're lucky enough to make enough money that you don't even think about food, what it costs, you don't think about how much gas going in your car, and I mean, the richer you get, you don't even think twice about buying something when you want it. It could be a car, it could be a second home, it could be all kinds of stuff. It's all relative to your income. But and this is the problem with the rich, especially the idiot elites, the actors and the people in Hollywood that, and also Silicon Valley, people that make tons of money, and really even what I described earlier, kids making $400,000 or $500,000 a year, that they know how to code, but you know what I mean. It's easy money. I mean it's a lot of money to be paid, and by the way, those guys are going to get a rude awakening too. I don't know if you guys realize this. You can actually, with all this chat GTP stuff and all this other stuff going on, this AI, you could write down what you want a website to be. You could say, I want a website, make it kind of, a cool theme and whatever, and it'll interpret cool to mean whatever it means. It's going to go through, 100 million, whatever sources to figure out what cool means in less than a second. But you can describe a website and it will spit out the code, and you will have a website. A functioning website with products and everything else. As long as you can articulate it to what you want, the chat GTP, it can make it for you, right? It can make it for you. So it's a really, really interesting time, but it's really, you think about it like, I just boil down. I'm a carpenter, right? By trade. I can use my hands. I'm a pretty talented guy, in a lot of different things with construction. Well, well, that's probably the only thing Chat GTP can't do is what I can do. You know what I mean? And so things that are kind of intellectualized, things that require, whatever, talent to code, talent to, whatever, write, all kinds of skills, doing accounting, the tax return, that sort of thing. the AI can do that shit. It's not a big deal. It can do that like that. It's nothing. Okay, so it's interesting. And so, what do you do, by the way, Space Age Rich? I'm just curious, but I'd be interested to know what you do for your $50,000 a year. Hey, Russ, good to see you in here. So FHA loan, can you save to buy a home $50K? You got to live on $20K and invest $30K. Look, no, probably not. But don't think in those terms. I would tell you right now, and I tell everybody this, when you start investing in real estate, which, by the way, hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you just got here. The key thing is you have to make money. You have to make money. And so you could get the greatest deal on earth on a piece of property. Guess what? You have to sell it. You have to sell it so you can realize the profit, so you have more cash than you had before when you bought it. And then do it again, do it again, do it again. And I'm not going to bore everybody with this, but somebody that's new here, I just want them to see this. But, I like to go up in the sky here and you'll see these are all pieces of real estate, all kinds of different kinds. This is what I bought in my 20s down here, about 100 properties over a 10-year period. And then, after age 30, basically, here's the remainder of my portfolio where, tens of millions of dollars in real estate. And, there's a lot of property here. It's hard to see it all, but every time you see a dot like that, it's a property that I bought and profited on. But I had to turn it, right? In other words, you have to turn it. You can't just sit on it. You have to turn it. And that's kind of how, if you want to be rich, that's how you have to do it. I mean, if you want to just be okay, then, you can scrimp and save. You can get that home and live for your payment for the next 5-10 years. And then, as you get a raise, it'll be easier, and then someday it'll pay off, and you'll be old and gray, and your house will be paid for, and then but you'll be lucky if your Social Security covers the property taxes. So you have to buy more than one, right? It's super important that you got to buy more than one. And Russ, you can pitch in and throw into that if you want to add to that. Russ actually is a young man. He's in my class, and he's got 4 kids, and he's made millions of dollars now. FHA loan, yeah. Berserker, house hack. Yeah, that Berserker, that's, what? That's like kind of some rudimentary stuff, I guess, but you can do, there's ways to get much faster than that, right? Talking about a house hack, you can live in one side, rent out the other. I mean, I guess I did a house hack when I was 25. I had a beautiful home when I was 25 years old, and 10% interest too, by the way, 9 1/8% interest on that one. So okay, Berserker, you said you came from the gutter, delivering pizza. 3 years ago, I owned a food truck. Then Airbnb, my gross is $175,000 a year. 1190 nights booked, 365 days. Your numbers aren't adding up quite right. I don't know what 1190 means. Maybe you could fix that. But yeah, and I don't love Airbnbs, but I think it's fine. I mean, everything should be a stepping stone to something better. I mean, it just should be. I don't love houses. I don't love house rentals, but I buy them. But I usually flip them right away. But right now, my latest strategy for me, anyways, is I've been buying houses and holding them, but with the idea of have one entity that owns 3 to 6 houses, and then time them out where I'll sell all 6 of those houses at or about the same time. But what I'll do is I'll do a 1031, and basically I'll roll the profits from those 6 houses. Which if I bought each of them $100,000 under market, there's $600,000 plus whatever it appreciated. There might be $1 million there in a couple of years, and that'll roll into another purchase. And so, I kind of mostly want to just talk about, staying motivated and, working on yourself. It's super important that you gotta look at yourself and just ask yourself, just be honest with you. I mean, do you piss away your time? Do you surf? Do you surf a lot of time on your phone? Do you watch sports? That's one thing I couldn't stand. I was surrounded by people that watch sports, and I didn't watch any of them. I just say I can't watch millionaires. I can't watch millionaires play a game, and while I get drunk watching millionaires play a game, and I go nowhere. So I could. It just really you can turn yourself off of anything. And I played sports, but I was turned off of that big time. Well, Berserker, I'm glad you're not shucking pizzas anymore. You sound like you've done pretty well for yourself. You should look at maybe getting into the mentorship. And yeah, I do phone consultations too. But you can have a free one with me. Just go to FlipAnythingUSA, and I'm going to read what Russ wrote here too. But real quick here, I'll show you. And I'm not even really trying to push hard on the class here, but go to FlipAnythingUSA, and you can just hit Apply for Mentorship up here at the top. And you'll see you'll get this little form, right? Not very much at all. Fill that out, and you'll get a text from me and an email, and then we can, and then I'll talk to you about whatever you got for free. But I do consultations too. And Russ just wrote, my mother's glasses on here. Russ says he suggests using 1031 exchanges, found that I'm able to get ahead faster and sell. Yeah, it's in the very beginning, it's not easy to do. But, because Russ is right. In fact, he's got his vineyard property. He's probably going to roll into a 1031. And then you get more advanced and you can do what's called a reverse 1031. But I have, consistently, sometimes it's tougher with houses because if you're rolling houses, most houses you might end up specializing in houses that are, like in a $500,000 neighborhood. So the goal is buy them for 300, sell them for 500, and make, whatever, 150 grand hopefully. And you can do that pretty consistently. But the problem is when you get one, you got it sold, it's very difficult to time out that you're going to have another one to roll it into. That can be difficult. But as you get wealthier, what you can do is you can actually find something bigger that you want to buy, like maybe something that costs a couple million, and then you can roll a few houses into that purchase, and then you can roll all of those gains into it. But making some money and paying some short-term capital gains, it's not the end of the world, and we've all done it, and we're all going to do it if we haven't done it. But yeah, Russ is on track there for sure. Rolling into 1031s, it just saves you a lot of money. But some people will actually they'll roll into a bad deal just to avoid paying taxes. And I say, no, just take your lumps, take the tax hit, and have that money. It's clean, it's clear, it's yours to play with after you pay that tax. In fact, if you sell something right at the beginning of the year, like right now is the perfect time, sell a house right in the beginning of January, because then you got a whole year to play with the money before you have to pay the taxes. Michael wrote, what's your thoughts on short-term rentals? I was thinking of buying something in the mountains. Yeah. Hey, Michael, when you say that, are you talking about like in the mountains as in far away from you? I mean, I wouldn't do it, to be honest. I mean, you can buy a condo in a ski area, and, there's management within the building that'll rent out your condo. There's things like that. But again, I think that's a way to get wealthy slowly. The way you want to do it is you want to understand how to invest by somebody that knows how to invest, by the way, and you'll learn very quickly. I got many millionaires in my class that and guys that are in a couple of years they're looking, they can't believe it. They go, this is more money than I've ever seen in my lifetime, because they flipped a few houses. They make $300,000-$400,000 sometimes in less than a year. I'm not surprised, but they're surprised. Okay, Russ just added, STR is, what's short-term rentals is like running a small hotel, lots of hands-on work, yeah. And so, and Russ knows, Russ is actually, Russ has wedding venue stuff, so, which, is definitely a big step up above that. But the Airbnbs and stuff, it's like, it is. It's like running It's like having a horrible hotel. I mean, it's not a way to get rich. It's okay to start. And if it works for you, if you have limited funds and you make that happen and it's working for you, that's great. But just know that that's not where it ends. And, really, if you can get in a class and get my book, whatever you do, get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. That'll really be probably the best investment you can make for $20, that I know. But because there's so much bad information on YouTube and so many lame fake gurus that talk all this horse shit, and then people gobble it up and eat it, and they start to think that they're getting knowledge when they're really not. But yeah, and the short-term rentals, we're talking about the Airbnb stuff. I don't like it. Listen, I love renting, but I sign leases for years, right? I don't sign leases for a week or 3 days or 2 weeks. I got zero interest in that. That's one of the reasons I never liked, storage buildings, storage units. It's like, I don't want to knock on somebody's door for $35 or $100 a month or whatever it is. It becomes more work. If you just raise your standards, but you really take a look at getting in the course. Anybody watching here, number one, hit that like and subscribe, but also go to FlipAnythingUSA and just either you can sign up for a webinar or the mentorship and I'll get your email that way, and then you'll get an email from me once in a while, and you'll be able to at some point when you're ready, whatever, you can have a call with me or whatever, but you can expose yourself to and see all these great students that I have that have made hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars now, multiple millions of dollars now. It really is a real thing. Russ actually, Russ, who's chatting with us right now, he was primarily a residential guy, but he wanted to expand into commercial. And so he realized after listening to me, he thought, well, hell, this guy is doing what I want to do. And he's a quick study, and now he's got commercial real estate and made millions of dollars on it. So it's really, really cool. And I love him as an example. And you'll see Russ in the class too, by the way. I would get insurance if you sell in 6 months in case property. Yeah. Always get insurance, guys, especially title insurance. Never think you can go without title insurance. It can be at the very first deal I bought, I had a title company. Where money got distributed, it got misdistributed, and the title company had to come, bail it out, had to take care of it. So, definitely, and by the way, here's another thing. Insurance is kind of for poor people when you think about it, and I didn't only put this together recently, because I never buy warranties. I almost never buy warranties on anything. And it's because it's like self-insuring. It's like, it's probably not going to break. I ain't going to worry about it. And guess what? It usually doesn't break. But somebody that spends, say, $700 or $1,800 for a new flat screen TV, this is a big investment to them. It's a big investment to them. So they think about, oh shit, what if it breaks? Oh, you know what I mean? So they're the suckers to a degree for an extended warranty because they can't afford if things break, right? Insurance. I don't even have health insurance, right? If I get sick, I have enough money. I can sell a building. If I really need if I need millions of dollars, I can sell a building to repair myself. In fact, my health insurance was basically a life insurance policy, right? I have a life insurance policy for a few $1,000,000. I figure, okay, well, if I get sick, I'll sell a building, or I'll spend millions of dollars to fix myself. And if that doesn't work and I die, then the insurance comes back. That insurance money will repay the money that I spent trying to fix myself on my way down. Okay, Space Age Rich, if you want to start flipping, then you need to get the book, right? Get my book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Start with that. And then, that's where you got to start. You got to start somewhere. That's $20 book. is the best way to start. You can get it on Audible. In fact, get both. Order it on Audible for $10, whatever it is, and then get the paperback on its way. And that way you can start listening to it. You got to immerse yourself. If you want to learn about something, if you wanted to learn Spanish, right? Go to Mexico. Move to Mexico for 3 months, and you'll be immersed in it, and you'll learn the language very, very quickly. Well, it's kind of the same thing. If and I'm not even saying get in the class. You may not even be able to afford my class, but what I'm saying is, Berserker, just forget it. If you got $20 damn, is that your response? Don't buy the book. Just hang it out. But like I say, there's people that or unless you're being complimentary, I don't know. But the problem is anybody, people spend $100,000 to get an education, or $200,000 for an education that doesn't pay $80,000 a year when they get out. This is the cheapest, best investment you can make. Is it real estate? It's the quickest education, and it's the most profitable one. Okay, now I feel better, Berserker. I thought you were one of those cheapskates. You're screaming about $20. Michael wrote, what would you rather own, 30 apartment units? Oh, God, I've owned more than that. What would you rather own, 30 apartment units, residential, triple net property with tenants like Dollar Tree? I'd take the Dollar Tree any day. I've owned 3 apartment buildings. And I'll just show them to you real quick since we're here and we're on the subject. And I made millions of dollars on these, so I'm never going to be down on apartment buildings. But I'll show you these 3 apartment buildings I own. I don't own them anymore. I don't actually enjoy it's like slightly better than owning a hotel. And my dots are getting screwed around here. So look. Here's a 13 unit right there. I bought that for $130,000. I sold it for $650,000. I bought this place here for $400,000. Sold it for $590,000. I bought this building, 21 units, over 20,000 square feet there. We had a laundry room and different. I made money off the laundromat that was within this building too. But so you got these 3 buildings. This one I bought for $210,000, 21 units, $210,000. And I sold it for, about almost $1.1 million, I think, or maybe $1.2 million. So I made almost a couple million between these 3 buildings. But those are apartments. Now, the problem with these apartments are, I can tell you, I had some kid, oh man, he flushed a sock or something, or a towel, a small towel, down into one of these units. It plugged up and it flooded 7 units. And we're talking feces coming out of the toilets into the carpets. And it really screwed the whole place up. And it cost me about $20,000 that week. And then it happened again, not quite as bad, about 3 weeks later. So, the problem with apartments, and this is really the quickest, cleanest, easiest way to explain it to you. This is 20,000 square feet, right? 20,000 square feet, and it has 20 bathrooms, right? It has 2 bedroom, 1 bath units in it, but they're all 900 square feet. So it's got it's got basically 20,000 square feet of carpet, right? Now, let's compare that with, I'll show you another building, okay? I'll show you a couple buildings. Now here's a building that I own that's also 20,000 square feet, right? This would be like a commercial industrial building that you see right here. Yeah, I would take this any day over those apartments. When people, I'm not responsible for any of the carpet inside. I don't have 20 toilets. I have like 4 toilets in that whole building, right? 2 major bathrooms that everybody uses, maybe 5 toilets, I don't know. It's just a much cleaner, easier, low maintenance kind of deal to have a commercial or industrial building. Lifeversity wrote, here's the thing with Dollar Tree. I know a guy that just bought a Dollar Tree yesterday. I mean, he bought it probably a couple weeks ago, but he told me about it yesterday. And he's only getting a 5.5% return. It's a terrible return. And he paid cash. I was looking at buying a building from him, and we didn't make a deal, but he sold his building for $2.5 million, and he bought a Dollar Tree. And Russ just wrote, Tom is helping me scale commercial real estate. Definitely helped me get my footing in that space. Currently have office, industrial use, retail space, always looking. Yeah. So, right, Russ, he kind of unlocked and, found out the magic that's in, commercial, industrial, and office. And I was lucky. I learned it early. My first building was an industrial building. So I was lucky. Southern California, you don't have to worry about pipes freezing or bursting. No, you don't. But you still have to worry about vandalism. By the way, you look at this building here, you don't even see it anymore, but this building had, I'll show you, there were conduits. Let me see here. On top of this building, like this line you see here, if you can see, on top of the building. Anyways, thieves came over, turned the power off, cut the conduit off, and pulled $35,000 worth of copper out of the conduits. Does your mentorship teach you how to assess the potential cost of major real estate repairs, like roof, foundation? Yeah, I get into all that. I mean, what you need to know specifically in your area is just who the good subcontractors are, right? I mean, I'm a contractor. I had a cabinet shop for 10 years. And, you'll know who the good subs are. And if you, Eric, you almost, what I need to know more about you is what you do, what your skill level is. You know what I mean? Some people can't even read a tape measure, can't even hang a picture. Other people are more handy than others. And it's okay. It doesn't mean you have to be, it's just a different approach. It's really a different approach. If you don't know construction and don't have any kind of background like that, you can still be successful. Herb in the class, he kind of fits the profile of somebody not particularly, skilled with his hands. But, I've got several guys now that have pulled off pretty decent remodel jobs. But, I just kind of help them along the way, what to do. Really it's just about, more than anything, is you got to know who you're working for. You never pay for anything in advance. Always keep the people you're going to pay, keep them in arrears until that job is completely done. Never pay them so much that it'd be worth it for them to walk off the job. If you're going to give them a deposit, give it to them when they start, after they start. You see some material on the job, that sort of thing. They got to have some sweat in the game before you start handing out money. Super important. Oh, you like to paint? I hate painting. I don't have any patience for it. And so I'm not a very good painter. And I just, it looks fun at first. And then pretty soon it's like, okay, I hate this already. I never liked it. But anyways, man, I think those gummies are starting to kick in. I'm starting to feel tired. Thank God. I think I will sleep. Anybody got any other questions? Anything? But main thing for you guys that, let's hear another Jim Rohn.
If you want to be wealthy and happy the rest of your life, just learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself.
This is what I was looking for.
On your job. See, it's not what you get by tricks. It's not what you get by demand. It's...
Okay, we'll watch this one twice. So this is actually the video, and he was much older than he is even here. But work on yourself. Don't necessarily just work on your job. You can work on your job and make more money, sure. But work on yourself and you'll make a fortune. That's what he's going to tell you here. Let's watch this again.
It's what you get by performance that counts. Performance comes from inside, not outside. If you want to be wealthy and happy the rest of your life, just learn this lesson well. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. See, it's not what you get by tricks. It's not what you get by demand. It's what you get by performance that counts. Performance.
Yeah. So, yeah, just creating good habits is like the best thing in the world. And being self-employed, you quickly kind of get good habits if you're going to survive. You're hungry. You got to go out there. You got to find a job. You get the job. Now you got to get it done because you want to get paid. So then you want to get it done as fast as possible. It makes you become very efficient. You don't mince words. You just kind of get it done. So being self-employed is like one of the best things in the world. Or anybody that's even on commission, they realize, you know what, I can't waste, they make more money. They get a sense of time is money. Where if you just work for somebody, you might have a bad day and work slow, or, I don't know. I've never been much of a dragger myself, but some people do. And some people go to work in like government. I mean, go in there and, looking in and you see a sea of cubicles and, and it's just like cows grazing. It's terrible. But entrepreneurial, it's the way to go. If you can be an entrepreneur, be self-employed, that's wonderful. But if you can't, if you get paid really well, that's also great. If you're a good asset to your boss, you get paid really well. But it's that money that you use. You got to just use your money as a tool. And I tell everybody young, just keep your overhead super low. I was paying like $100 a month for a little tiny, it was hard to believe they even built it. It was a little house next to somebody else's house. And then after that, I moved into a trailer and paid even less. But I remember I had the house I walked into, a teeny tiny living room, and then there was a little bedroom and a bathroom right off. And I'm talking like smaller than a garage. In fact, I had a waterbed back then. This is like 1979. And I had to take, my waterbed was bigger than the room. So I had to cut my waterbed down about 6 or 8 inches. And then when I put it in the bedroom, it touched 3 walls. Anyways, what else we got here? Russ Road, I buy whatever's a really good deal. Has to feel like Christmas, something I teach in the class. Then I fix and I lease it out. Secure lines of credit. Yep, that's the way to go. Tom, I think I'm going to join your class. What's the steps to sign up, and how does it work exactly? So, Michael, I can't get into all that right now. It would bore the shit out of everybody else. So look on the screen here real quick. Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. Right here. Apply for mentorship. See that right there? Click on that. You get this page. Just fill out this little form right here, and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Just do it right now. I see your name, Michael. I'll look for you. I have another Michael sitting on the fence. Maybe you're him. I don't know. I got another guy that it's a no-brainer for him, and it's probably a no-brainer for you too. But yeah. So, anyways, but and listen to stuff that motivates you. Listen, I that's one thing. I just sucked up motivational books. I Think and Grow Rich. It was fantastic. There's another little book. Oh hell, I don't know. Somebody throw out some book names that you liked, but As a Man Thinketh. I liked As a Man Thinketh was really a good book. But basically, just put things that put the responsibility on you. Understand that. Forget about counting on other people. At some point in your life, you'll learn to delegate in the super. And if you can delegate, believe me, you can do really, really well. I'm a good delegator, okay. But in the beginning, I had to do everything. In other words, I would get the job, I would draw the job, I had to draw plans. Sell it, talk somebody into buying it, get the deposit. I was the banker, the accountant. I'm nailing cabinets together, and I had to draw the plans, and you kind of do everything, and it's good. Yeah, Zig Ziglar's. Yeah, I like Zig Ziglar. And oh God, what's this other guy's? Earl Nightingale's a fantastic orator, and he would read some of the Zig Ziglar. In fact, Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn were actually very close friends, by the way. Atomic Habits is a good book, huh? Yeah, at the top. Zig Ziglar was great. Yeah. You know, I don't even know. I did not. There's not much Zig Ziglar that I actually watched or read.
Of being here today, if you can capture what I'm about to share with you. Here's what Mr. Shoaff said. Set a goal to become a millionaire. And he said, here's why. For what it will make of you to achieve it. And I got one of the greatest classes in one sentence I've ever received in my life. Set a goal that'll make you stretch that far. For what it will make of you to achieve it.
So, you know, you'll see that Jim Rohn often refers to his mentor, by the way, Shoaff. He always says, Mr. Shoaff. Shoaff was a guy that took an interest in him and hired him when he was 25 years old, and he quickly became a millionaire. And so it really, I'm telling you, having a mentor is huge. I wish I had one. And don't get me wrong, I kind of had people that were kind of like mentors. We call it role modeling, right? You see somebody that has what you want, you talk to them, and you try to, by osmosis, if you can learn something from them. You know, most people are happy to share. I remember a guy that I worked for, and he knew I was enthusiastic. He knew I was going to get ahead. He knew I was trying. And so he was very complimentary and easy to share with me. And one time he said, yeah, you know, Tommy, he goes, when I closed that business, he said, I had over $1 million in the bank account. And this is like 1980, right? And I was like, holy crap, $1 million, you know. And I think when he passed, by the way, he just built a $5 million home on the beach in L.A. I can't remember now exactly where. But, you know, but when he did pass, I think he probably had over $100 million in real estate. And he had helped so many guys like me, contractors like me, that I didn't even know he was dead. You know, I lived in a different state. But I found out after he was buried, and a buddy of mine that went there, another contractor, painter, by the way, and he said, Tommy goes, there wasn't a dry eye in the place. There were hundreds of men he said there was hundreds of men just sobbing, crying, because they all remembered him. And believe me, he helped me too. He gave me a break on my first place when I rented my first cabinet shop, he was my first space, when I moved from the garage into like an official space. So Lifeversity wrote, okay, we're talking about some books here. Darth Guido, been watching your videos and appreciate your genuine content. Notice you are different than all those so-called guru mentors trying to endlessly upselling programs. Yeah, thanks, Darth. Yeah, no, I listen, most of these guys are so full of shit and they haven't done anything and they don't have the real estate chops. They just get with a slogan or they distract and they really can't even mentor because they haven't done it before. Or they're like a specialist in something like sub 2, which is like nothing, a big nothing. Anyways, Lifeversity wrote, Art of Thinking Clearly. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Don't forget. Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Okay, that's actually also a very good book. It'll be motivation for you in different ways. But it's just funny the options that are out there. If you realized everything's right out there and you just got to grab it, you just got to take it, and it is there for the taking. And the way I'm reemphasizing this right now is, look, we've had so many new illegal immigrants come in the country, right? So many. I mean, millions, like maybe 20 million, it looks like. And, well, these people get here, the ones that are workers, right? They work. First of all, and this is also going to talk about real estate here in a sec, because in how that affects us. So you got all these immigrants coming here. They all get a bunch of free money, to be honest. They get a lot of free help in the beginning. There's a lot of stuff that, our country, pisses away and rolls out the red carpet. Well, after about a year or two, some of that dries up. And then they get into the workforce and they start making, they start companies. And I've got tenants that rent houses from me that are from Salvador, Venezuela, somewhere else, I can't remember. And they're paying good rent, and they pay rent, and they're on time, but they've only been in the States for a year or two. Well, these guys are starting businesses. Most of them, many of them paint for me, do sheetrock. I mean, the ones that are renting from me. But I've got all these entrepreneurs that are, they're self-employed, like I said, painters, sheetrock, carpenters. And so they're not waiting for a job. They're not taking a job. They're like basically creating a business. They're becoming a subcontractor. And then others, I have food parks, right? I have the biggest food park in Austin, and I have food trailers. So I got people that are, from all these different countries, and to start a restaurant is very expensive. Start a food trailer, not so bad, right? You buy a trailer for maybe 10, 15, 30 grand, depending on how fancy you get. You can go more than that. But, you can get in the door with 20 grand and some food, and you can start cooking and start making money. And so I've got a lot of these guys that are they're taking advantage of what America gives to us all, the freedom to create a business, and they see it. They see the opportunity here. And but a lot of us that are born here, we don't see it. We don't see it. And that's sad. It's very sad. And here's the other thing on the housing part. So a lot of these people, when they come in from these other countries, Biden's been handing out money left and right. They're okay, but once that money dries up and they're in the workforce, they start taking your jobs, okay? And then on top of that, now that they're taking jobs from people that are here, that are already here, well, now they're competing for the houses that are available for rent. They push the rent up, right? So all this illegal immigration, I mean, believe me, it's pushing the rents up, because more people need a place to live, and so it's for the average guy that born and raised in America, he has his wife and kids, maybe makes $50,000, and all of a sudden he's going from $1,500 a month to $2,200 a month. Well, $700 a month's a big hit to somebody in that situation. How many hours a day should we spend to get the most out of your mentorship? Eric, if you love it, what's going to happen is this: the typical thing that happens. You're going to learn about something you don't know anything about, right? And a lot of people think they know real estate until they get in my class and they realize, shit, well, I know a little bit about real estate, but I guess I really didn't know much about being a good investor. And that's the difference. And so once you're in and you get through, many of the lessons, then you'll start seeing things through my eyes, the way I see it, and you'll start seeing opportunities where you never saw them before. And that's what I see happening with all my students, right? And believe me, I every day I get texts from students, hey, look at this, or hey, let me show you what I just got. Hey, I just sold this, and you know what I mean? I can't even hardly keep up with it. People have done so well, and so many. And I'm gonna actually calculate. I think right now the average, if I average it, average student makes $60,000, right? And the class costs just a fraction of that. Doesn't mean everybody made that. It means some people made millions. Some people made hundreds of thousands. Some people made tens of thousands. And some people haven't made anything yet. But they will. They will. I'm confident they will. What's that one show? Proverbs. Oh, yeah, Proverbs has a lot of good business advice as well. Yeah. The Art of the Deal by Trump. But anyways, Eric, yeah, the thing is when if it takes to you, like I hope it would for you, after you visit with me, if it doesn't, it should really motivate you. And that's the best thing. And then when you go in the class, Russ will tell you, Russ was checking with me because I canceled class this Saturday because of the holidays. And he didn't want to miss it. He said, yeah, I hate to miss it. He wanted to make sure he didn't miss it, right? Anyways, and that's how it is. It's like there's always something new. And when you see your classmates making deals and you see them doing stuff that's kind of with, maybe they're the same budget you are, and you're going, geez, that guy just made $100,000. You want it to be you, but you're happy for the other guy, but you want it to be you, and it should be. So Dar said, ordered book should be in my hands tomorrow, according to Amazon. Good. Well, thanks for the order, and And that's $7. I just made $7 already. I'm glad I turned this thing on. Yeah, I'm kidding. I think I make $7 on a book, I think, but I don't even check. But anyways, hey, thanks for everybody for hanging out. And this gummy's starting to kick in, so before I sound too stupid, I think I'm going to go to sleep. So, but hey, I'm looking forward to talking to you, Mike. Hey, Eric, Darth, listen, go here, fill this out. Just go hit the apply for mentorship. Don't be shy, and we'll have a quick call. And you know what I mean? Because then you can kind of share maybe a little bit more about your financial situation, where you live, and I'll give you free advice. And anyways, thanks everybody for hanging out. Again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Always helps when you comment underneath. And we'll see you maybe tomorrow. Bye.
And listen, time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.